Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Daredevil Born Again review. This time we are taking some time to talk about episode 4 of the show. And this show's kind of aggravating. It's bizarre. I don't know how to feel about it. Because on the one hand, some of the stuff is garbage, and I'm just tired of dealing with it. On the other hand, there's really good stuff in it. For example, in this episode, we get one of the best scenes in the entirety of the show. And I'm talking Born Again and the original 3 seasons of the Netflix show. And it was prefaced by one of the cringiest and the dumbest. So I'm kind of like, how am I supposed to feel? Show, make up my mind. And I was like, my God, you can tell this is repurposed from an original idea that got scrapped because Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio were like, no, we're not doing that crap anymore. And they're trying to tweak it. So, that's just frustrating. So, I'm gonna give a little breakdown of the episode before I go too much on a tangent, as I already have. Basically, because there's not a whole lot to talk about story-wise for this one. Not a lot of crazy things happen. Starts off, we see Hector's niece come in to the morgue, whatever they're at, I can't remember. Or Matt's there because he's checking in to see what happened to Hector and all that. She comes in, she wants to see the body. Matt's like, no, children should not see that. And there's this really good kind of, touching scene where she basically kind of breaks down and cries and goes over to hug Matt. And he's trying to comfort her, and she's like, this is ridiculous. The cops killed him, and politicians aren't doing anything. No one's doing anything. No one's going to do anything. It's not fair. And Matt's kind of like, yeah, it's not fair. And you can see the wheels turning in his head. Everything that's been happening is trying to push him towards putting on the horns again. And then we have more of the annoying Fisk and Vanessa therapy thing. It was fun for an episode or two. Now I'm just over it. Either, again, get them back together or break it up. I'm kind of over it. Because that was one of the greatest things about their relationship is that they were like this. She was just as crazy and bloodthirsty as he was. But now it's just kind of it does feel like in these therapy sessions, I kind of understand why people are like, oh, he's a cuck. In these therapy sessions, it kind of feels that way. But then later on in the episode, he feels more like classic Kingpin. So it's can we just have him be classic Wilson Fisk, please, just throughout? So I'm over that. There was a scene I really didn't like because Matt takes this kind of pro bono case or whatever that they have some kind of agreement with one of their clients. He's talking to Kirsten at the law firm. She's like, hey, can you go take care of this freebie thing? He's like, yeah, you had me at free. So he goes down there, and there's this guy who got accused of stealing fiddle faddle from a convenience store. And he keeps swearing up and down, oh, I didn't do it, it wasn't me, da-da-da-da-da. Then he come to find out that he was just lying the whole time, because Matt goes to see this one other, law person. I can't really remember what their position was, but she basically gives you, the sentencing and whatnot for, bail and things like that, or, these low-level kind of things. And he's there, flirting her up, trying to get her, because the guy wants probation. He doesn't want to have to go to jail, even though he has a 25-page rap sheet. It's not how it works, my guy. So he gets everything he done. I think he gets 20 days for him in jail. And Matt was he was trying. He was flirting up the girl and whatnot, and he kept pushing and pushing. She finally got down to 20. She's like, all right, cool, thanks, appreciate you. He goes back to tell the guy, and the guy throws a fit. He's like, no, I said I'm not going to jail, and da-da-da. And he's just being such an ass to Matt, making blind jokes and telling him how he doesn't know how to do his job, this, that. And I'm like, who are you? He's like, you're a criminal. I get, and he keeps going, oh, why you gotta keep bringing the past? I was like, because you've done it. There's this thing called a pattern of behavior. You don't just get to have a rap sheet that long. Granted, he didn't murder anybody. It's not petty thefts and stuff like that. Judges aren't going to be lenient on you. The sentencing people aren't going to be lenient on you. That's why we have them. And this guy just doesn't seem to understand that. He just keeps acting oh, woe is me. I was like, no, I get it. Speaking as someone who's been through that kind of stuff, that's struggling financially, like I'm sure a lot of people in the freaking country are, you don't just get to steal stuff. That's not how it works. God, it was so annoying seeing us. You could tell some of these writers and Californian Hollywood freaking mentality. It's like, what is this? Anyway, we get the scene of, and I'm probably going out of order here, but this episode has me flustered. We have a scene where Fisk is trying to he wants to get some building built. And his like advisor, whatever, keeps trying to tell him, like, oh, well, we can't do this. We have to do it this one. He goes, well, then do that. He goes, no, well, we can't get this okay until we have to actually do the applications. All right, we'll do the applications. So, well, we have to get, the group of the board and whatnot, of like the town hall group, whatever they're called, not the like Senate or that's presidency, but whatever that equivalent for like town would be. And he's like, all right, we'll put it before them. Because like, every time he brings something up, like, she has to throw something in there, and like, I get it, red tape and all that, but it's like, man, no wonder stuff doesn't get done. It's ridiculous. So we have that kind of little scene, and oh my god, I almost forgot about this because I wanted to forget about it. Part of his advisor, this kid named Dan, I think is his name. He's a young, like 20-something-year-old dude, and he's in with Ben Urich's niece, BB, who they do these little like man of the people kind of like on the man on the street kind of thing. Just go up, talk to people, and they'll have them like stitched in or cut throughout the episode. It's kind of a nice little breakup, but I don't really care about her as a character. She has no character. She's just like modern like Gen Z or whatever girl out partying and stuff. So there's a scene where BB and Fisk's advisor guy, Daniel, are out partying. He gets plastered, and he's trying to be responsible, so he wants to go home early. But then and it wasn't really clear to me, maybe I missed it, excuse me, but I guess he, like, leaked something or mislabeled something or whatever, and they basically called him, like, this garbage king or something like that, because he's trying to get things... Wilson, they call Fisk like the garbage king or something along that line. It's not a good look. It's basically like an insult. And of course, Fisk being Fisk, goes nuclear. He calls everyone in his staff in there, and he's cut, and he's like freaking out on them. He's like, this is ridiculous. We run like a tight ship, and this, that, and the other. And he goes, I'm going to find out who did this, and da-da-da-da-da. And then Daniel steps up and is like, hey, it was me. I'm sorry. So he has everyone leave except for Daniel and his like advisor lady. And the guy, and you can tell, like, Fisk's about ready to go nuclear on this dude. But then Daniel's like, no, I'm sorry. It was me. I made some mistakes. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. I got too drunk when I was out partying with some friends. And, even if you fire me, I understand that. I'm always going to support you. It doesn't matter what. I'm like eternally loyal to you. And, of course, Fisk being Fisk, he likes the sound of that. So he's like, all right, I'm not going to fire you. But if anything like this happens again, we're going to have an issue. So while that's going on, we get some actual enjoyable, interesting stuff. And we build up to easily the best scene of this season so far. One of the best scenes in all, I guess, including this 4 seasons of Daredevil. Matt is investigating the shooting of Hector. He goes to where he was shot. He's looking around, using he's like, finally we get to see him use some of his powers. And he ends up finding the shell casing. And the shell casing has a Punisher skull on it. I think I've mentioned before, there have been multiple different people. Like, there's a couple different cops. There's one cop who has a Punisher skull on his neck. There's another one that had one, like, on his wrist right here. There's some graffiti throughout the city of Punisher skulls and whatnot. And so, Matt sees that, and he goes, all right, I guess I gotta talk to somebody. So he goes, and he finds Frank Castle. And there's this great scene that you saw in the trailers, where Frank, like, pins him up against these lockers, and he has an axe ready to take him out. And then Matt's like, no, Frank, it's Matthew. So Frank, puts down, he drives the axe in the wall. He's like, what the hell are you doing here? Whatever. And Matt tells him, I found the shell casing that has your logo on it. And Punisher sees it, and he just goes, damn fanboys. So apparently he's not a fan of them, which makes sense. So I like that they're keeping true with that. And Matt basically asks him, does he have anything to do with it? Stuff like that. And then comes the scene, excuse me, where Matt's basically, he's kind of like pushing a little bit, like trying to like get under Frank's. They have, if you've seen like season 2 of Daredevil, especially, they kind of have that like really good kind of like opposites attract kind of energy. So there are a lot of times they're just yelling at each other, which is kind of funny. But at the end, Matt, like, doesn't get a whole lot of it, because obviously it wasn't Punisher. We all kind of, if you watch the episode, you kind of figured it wasn't going to be Frank. So Matt's getting ready to leave, and Frank tells him, basically, like, I don't have time for your, and I think, what's the direct quote? He goes, I don't have time for your candy-ass hero shit. If you want to go out there and go after somebody, have at it. So Matt's like, all right, fine. I'm sorry to waste your time. But before he leaves, Frank kind of goes and he goes, I don't think you came down here for my help. I think you want my permission. You want to go after someone and you're scared. And Matt keeps like, oh man, it's a credit to Charlie Cox's acting, because you can tell he's like all trying to play it off, but it's like you can tell that deep down Frank's right. And Frank keeps pushing him because he brings up Foggy. And he goes, you talk about saving people, what about that friend of yours? You save him. And that's when it happens. And Matt's kind of like, keeps saying, it's not about him. It's not about him. And Frank goes off. He goes, it's not about him. I can see it on your face. I can see the guilt. That's where I live. And he keeps pushing Matt. Matt punches him and like goes to like choke him. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. And Frank goes, what are you sorry for? That's the first honest thing you've done. And it's such a good scene because you could tell that Matt needed this. He needed the extra push because Frank even tells him, it's like, who you are. You feel guilty because you're not doing anything about it. You didn't do anything about it. Bullseye's still out there. He's still sucking in the same air you do, eating his slop. Foggy's not coming back from that. Foggy's dead. And Bullseye gets to, walk free. It's kind of a nice callback to that really popular conversation they had in season 1 about their ideologies. Kind of like that, showing Frank that, hey, your way doesn't always work. Especially when it happens to someone close to you. Now you get what I do. And he has this great line where he says to him, after he's really up close in Matt's face, and he goes, as you keep hearing it in your brain, like you should have done more, whatever. And he goes, it's like me. I always, when I'm going after these guys, I always hear my little boy's voice in my head going, get him, Daddy, get every last one of them. That's why I do what I do. And it was like, oh, that's good. That's some good stuff, man. And it's like, that's why this show's so aggravating. Because you'll have great scenes like that, but you'll have this stupid Fisk and therapy crap. And then you'll have that random thief guy who's just treating Matt like garbage. And this dumb crap with BB and Daniel. And I'm like, there's so much potential. It's such a good scene. I've watched it about a dozen or so times. It's just that good. And everyone's going nuts about it because it's that good. So it's nice to know we have that potential. Give me more of that. So we do some more stuff with, Fisk and Vanessa and therapy again. And I don't care. And then towards the end of the episode, excuse me again, we see this kind of, they start to do that whole thing again of, like they show what's going on with Matt and then what's going on with Fisk, and they intercut them. And we see Matt coming home after, dealing with Frank and the thief and all that. And he's talking with Heather and they get a bit steamy. Then we see what's going on with Fisk, and they're talking about Adam and seeing what's going on with him. And Heather asks, did you end the affair? Well, it was before that, leading up to this. He goes, did you end the affair? And he's like, oh, Vanessa's like, I never got a chance to. And she goes, why is it? Where's Adam at now? And they both simultaneously like, we don't know. Because she asks Wilson, did you confront him? Or did you say anything to him? Yes, we had a dialogue. I just told him how I couldn't imagine the thought of how he described how he couldn't imagine the thought of living life of life worth living, I think it was, without Vanessa. And he told him how much she meant to him and all that. So then we kind of go and we see after Matt comes home and Heather gets home, they're at Matt's apartment talking about him. Like I said, they get a little bit steamy and whatnot, which is like, oh my God, doesn't he let this happen? And then at the same time, we kind of jump a little bit to Matt waking up. And before I go any further, this is something I want to bring up because I kept forgetting to bring it up in my other reviews. Because we see Matt, we get up and we saw something that kind of drove me nuts. Can we please see more of Matt's faith? Matt Murdock is a massive dyed-in-the-wool Catholic. He's a very faithful person. He's a very religious person. That is why he doesn't kill. Part of that is because of his, big part of that is because of his faith. And we haven't seen it. In like episode 1, I think it was episode 1 or 2, we have one scene of him looking at a church. That's it. Haven't seen anything since. And then in this scene, when he wakes up in bed with Heather, you see him wearing a cross necklace. And it's like, that's all we get. That's all we get. Whereas in the Netflix series, he's always talking to Father Latham. He's always going to the church. He's going to confessional. And there are all these great moments where he's talking things out. You know, he's conflicted. He'll get advice from the Father. He'll go back and forth. And it's like, that's great because he's such a religious person and he's trying to be a vigilante. He's like, those things, ideologies can kind of conflict. So he's always trying to figure out, like, should I keep doing things as Daredevil? Should I not? And it's almost like he keeps getting pushed in that in certain ways because it's almost like he's meant to. So I'm sorry for, I'm having allergies or something. I apologize, guys. But the fact that that's missing is driving me crazy because I am a Christian. And one of the things I love about Daredevil is he does believe in God. I think that's really cool for people like me who can identify with. You don't have to beat people over the head with it, but even in a Netflix show, it made sense how they did it because it is so important to him. And this one is like, it's gone. And yet, and it's just the same 2 beats from season 3 where he lost his faith and he doesn't want to be Daredevil anymore. It's the same thing here. But at least in season 3, he was staying in a church, talking to his sister who ended up being his mother. Spoilers if you haven't seen season 3. But in this, it's like nothing. And it's so frustrating because it's such a big part of the character. So I'm really hoping they stop with that bullcrap and stop tiptoeing around and just go lean into it. Just freaking do it, for God's sake. So we see Matt, sorry for the side tangent there, but Matt gets out of bed with Heather. And we cut them seeing between Matt doing things and Fisk doing things. Fisk goes down to some secret place he has, and he gets this gigantic, gourmet looking pasta dish. Because, he's supposed to be watching his weight, and he's just, devouring this. He's got this, nice wine that he pours for himself. And then you see this cage, and out walks Adam, and he's like, Mr. Fisk, please let me out. And Fisk goes, it's Mayor Fisk. And he's there, screaming, Fisk, please let me out, stuff like that. Because apparently he's been holding Adam in this cage, the guy that Vanessa had an affair with this whole time. And I like this because, again, that's so Kingpin, that's so Wilson Fisk. I love it. It's we're getting more of this good stuff. Keep up with this. While at the same time, we cut to Matt, again, waking up with Heather. He goes up to his loft, and he opens up the, compartment or whatever, and you see all the different colored Daredevil helmets. He goes over and grabs his billy clubs. He goes up to the roof. He connects them. He drops the grapple hook, and he just starts practicing with the rope and the wire. And he's doing all this stuff, trying to flex those muscles again. And the episode ends with him throwing the cable at the camera, and it cuts to black. And I'm seeing this going, we need to get here. Come on, I get it. The build up was come on, just get here. Just get here. It's been 4 episodes, man. I just want to see him put on the costume and beat Daredevil again, especially after that. So, the episode, I'm 50-50 on it. There's a lot of stuff I liked. The thing with Frank, the thing with Matt and the little girl. I like the ending of them cutting between the two, seeing Fisk still be an evil, gruesome, terrible person, keeping the guy in a cage, seeing Matt practice with the club again because you could just, it's Daredevil's itching to get out. I didn't like the rest of it. The stuff with the therapy, I keep saying, I'm over it. The stuff with the thief or whatever, I'm over it. I don't care about Daniel and BB at all. They're just boring to me. I don't care. Show me Matt doing cool stuff. Show me Fisk being evil. That's what I want to see. And I get it. It's built up. And we have one more episode. We have episode 5 to get through. Then episode 6 where things are supposed to shift gears. We have the new showrunner and new writers and whatnot taking over, and it becomes their show. And it's going to be more, hopefully, like the original Netflix show. It's going to feel more, there's going to be Daredevil in the actual Daredevil show. And one last thing, I did forget to mention this. We get to see our first proper look at Muse, which is very cool. Because we see him, and it's ripped right out of the comic. We just see him walking under the subway with someone slung over his shoulder. And we get to his hideout or whatever, where he does his artwork. And you see him with all these bodies just draining them of their blood because he paints with their blood and stuff. Muse is such a dark, gruesome, creepy character. And I'm so hoping they do this right. because he's such a cool character. It's something so different than what Daredevil's had to deal with before, so I'm very excited to see how Charlie's Daredevil deals with this. So I'm like, please let this be good. We're in the home stretch. We got one more episode to get through, then hopefully these last couple episodes are really, really good. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, not a whole lot to talk about, at least, story beat wise. It's very basic, general fun episode. I want to give this episode like a 5 out of 10, but the stuff that I liked, I really liked, and I do feel like it carried that. So I'm probably, again, just because of that, and maybe it's because I'm biased, sure, whatever. I said maybe, again, 7 out of 10, which is what I'd give all these episodes. The show is a 7 out of 10. There's a lot of stuff holding it down, but I do feel like Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox are carrying it, and the stuff with them, I'm enjoying. Him building up to become Daredevil again, it's happening slow, but I'm enjoying it. Seeing Fisk slowly transition from trying to be the good, upstanding individual back to his old ways, I'm enjoying. The stuff with Punisher, phenomenal. It was great. I've heard very mixed things on this next episode from people that have seen it. I'm going to have to wait 2 more days. Excuse me. So I'm very kind of nervous about that. But like I said, I just want to get to not the next episode, but the following episode. So hopefully I'll be a bit more excited, a bit more energetic with the rest of these, because the last couple, it's just been kind of very meh. But yeah, that's about it. I thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you feel so inclined, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really enjoying doing these reviews, and I do kind of want to do some more other reviews and whatnot, potentially. We'll have to see if anything kind of catches my fancy and whatnot, but I'm really enjoying doing Daredevil, and I hope you guys have been enjoying. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Peace and love, everybody.